All right. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm DJ Impact. I got the Vegas Bad Boys here with me, and it's good to see you, fellas. And while everyone is jumping on, first off, let's just give we want to give a quick little promo in terms of if you want to help support our show, we absolutely would appreciate it, especially if you have access to the Cash App. Just use our tagline, money sign Vegas Bad Boys with a Z, and send us $1, $5, $20, $100, whatever you're feeling good. You know, now that you got these extra what we call Biden bucks, maybe you want to send some of that over to us. We'll appreciate it. Just to let you know though,
Biden bucks.
Anything that you do give to us, all of that is to help promote build Vegas Bad Boys. We do a lot of promotion on trying to get the name out there. As some of you may know, it's not easy to get known out there, especially with so many people trying to go viral. And so we're just trying to do our thing, and we appreciate whatever help that you give us. So we'll just wanted to throw that out first. All right, fellas, wrestling, a lot of it this past week. And I guess I'll kick off with Sacrifice that happened this past weekend on Impact Plus. Won't go over match by match. I'll just mention just a couple of highlights and some of the title changes, and that'll be it. And we'll get to everyone's famous show of all, WWE Raw. All right. So Sacrifice. Violent by Design, as you know, Joe Doering, Diener, Eric Young, they had a match against James Storm, Chris Sabin, and Jake something. Not really to talk, I mean, it's a great match, but nothing really to highlight outside of the fact that Rhino, who was taken out by Violent by Design a few months ago, been off of TV. He decided to make his return. So, of course, he's going to take his revenge on Violent by Design. That wasn't the case. He actually attacked the other guys, and seems like he has now joined Violent by Design. So now they have a fourth member. So we'll see where that goes with Rhino. Again, Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, they had a match. Again, it was a good match, nothing really to highlight. But have you guys ever heard of a hold harmless match?
I haven't heard of a Brian Myers.
I think we go through this every single week, Michaels. You got to figure out who this guy is, okay?
Go
ahead.
He needs to get access first to be able to know who this guy is.
He's got to get okay, all right. Well, listen, nevertheless, a hold harmless match. I had never heard of it, but I guess the idea, it means that there will be no consequences for what one wrestler does to the others in this match, with no disqualifications and no countout. So in this case, it was Eddie Edwards could do whatever he want to Brian Myers with no disqualifications and countouts. I never heard of it before, but apparently those work, that works in his advantage, but doesn't work in.
It doesn't go the other way, right?
It doesn't go the other way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. And of course, with rules like that, Eddie Edwards won the match. So, so I just wanted to mention that. Just some honorable mentions. You have the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, Fire and Flava, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Of course, they won their match against Jordan Grace and Jazz. It's cool still to see Jazz out there doing her thing, man. Not too long ago, she was ready to hang it up and retire, but she's still trying to give it one more run. And I do believe after this, she's probably going to be like, okay, I'm really done now. The X Division Championship, TJP and Ace Austin, man, you got to love the X Division in Impact. It was really great to just see these guys go at it. But TJP did lose the title against Ace Austin. So he is now the X Division champion. And it was actually, for the most part, a pretty straight up match. You would think with Madman Fulton on the side, there would be some shenanigans, but he didn't really get involved in it. So at most, Ace Austin pulled the referee, tried to, swerve him to get him involved, but that wasn't too much to really cause a big difference in how the match was going to turn out. Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo had a match against ODB. Remember, she is the Knockouts Women's Champion. And of course, Deonna Purrazzo still maintained that. I didn't think I was going to give it to ODB, but hey, she wanted to make a quick little return. You never know what could happen. Sin City Steve, the Impact World Tag Team Championship, the Good Brothers versus Vengeance took place. And guess what, guys? We do have new Impact World Tag Team titles in juice, okay, to take it on. So, yeah, I guess if the Good Brothers do pop back up on AEW, they'll at least be beltless from that point,
Until they take the AEW tag.
Exactly.
Come on now. You didn't see that coming, did you?
Of course, I know. Come on, man. but yeah. So anyway, they got that, and which was a good match as well. The last one, the Impact World Championship, Rich Swann versus TNA Heavyweight Champion Moose for the unification belt of the unification of the belts. That was also, again, when you see them side by side, when you see the numbers, you just go, it's just going to be a beatdown. Moose is just going to walk out both. This is what's going to happen a long time. So let's just finally we get to the point. But listen, Rich Swann, he held his own, and it was believable, for most part of the match, that you go, okay, I can actually see how he's slowly, tearing the big man down to do what he did, which was win both belts. So Rich Swann is still your now not Impact World Championship, but also your TNA. So the unification of the title belts, he was holding both belts up now that he won, and apparently he is going to get ready and put his focus onto the AEW title versus title match against your world champion, Kenny Omega at Rebellion. So
They didn't already have that match?
Another unification match coming up. No more
Of course.
being absorbed.
yeah,
They didn't already have that match?
they did. Say that again, Simon.
No. I was asking what Michaels was talking about. You talking about?
Okay. Yeah, they did have a match for before that match. It wasn't a 1-on-1. It was like a 3-on-3 type of match. Yeah, but they both were their title holders. So now this is a title versus title. So yeah, makes you want to go. Make sure you watch Rebellion. Get that Impact Plus.
Impact. I have a question. Can Impact Wrestling do a match, TNT versus Access? So that way, when TNT beats them, we can now watch Impact Wrestling on TNT, and everybody can watch.
Why don't you get DirecTV?
Impact is gonna pay for it. I ain't getting Impact TV. Shit. I'm still getting screwed over by Cox. Shit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you are.
Well, there's that.
Right.
I think that it's awesome that Rich Swann overcame the odds and beat Moose to collect both titles, only to lose them to Kenny Omega in a month.
I
know, right?
Yeah.
Kenny Omega's not going to be defending the belt. It's going to be Christian Cage.
Oh Lord.
I'm just seeing what I saw with my own 2 eyes.
Christian Cage, too much shit. There's some decent matches.
Hey,
Yeah.
And by the way, shout out to everyone. You can join us in the chat room, Facebook Live. Just go ahead and type a comment on there if you want to throw it in. Shout out to Sean, who's already in the chat room, and he says, "Hey, what was the point of bringing back the TNA Championship? Did we ever find out?" No, the whole reason why Sean TNA was brought back is as at the time the Impact World Title was on Tessa Blanchard, and that was during a time where she took off to Mexico and wouldn't return back, and she had the belt. So at that time, Impact's trying to figure out what we're gonna do now with our belt being over there. They brought back the TNA title for the time being, and Moose was like, "Well, look, I'm just gonna take this title which they had on the desk, and I'm just gonna proclaim myself as the champion," and that's what he's been doing ever since that point. So they never even recognized TNA as the title that Moose was carrying until last week's show. So, but that was the whole story behind that, Sean.
We've recognized that title way more than they have, and we spend way more time talking about that title for no reason. So, thank you, Sean, for bringing that back up.
Oh man, yeah, man. But anyway, it was a good show of wrestling this past weekend. So if you happen to get access to Impact Plus, hey, get it and watch some of the great programming that they have on there. Let's move on.
You said access to Impact Plus.
There you go, Simon Street. Listening really, really comfortably to what I'm saying. That's what we need here on this show. WWE Raw. Let's jump right into it. We are, I guess we're moving towards Mania, but before we can get there, we got to get through Fastlane. So what are you guys seeing on Raw that you are enjoying as you see we're moving closer to the big show? Or is there nothing yet and you're waiting for them to put something on to get you excited for the big show?
Well, first and foremost, isn't Fastlane on March 31st? If I'm not mistaken. So
I'm not sure the date.
No, it can't be March 31st. So
it's
next week on the 28th then?
No, it's on the 11th.
No, that explains it.
Yeah.
I think, isn't it? It's either on 21st or 28th.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I mean,
pick a Sunday. It's going to be on there. Guarantee it.
Be on the network either way. You're not going to watch it when we talk about it, so it doesn't matter.
That's going to be on Peacock though, so it's not going to be on the network per se.
No, it is going to be on the network.
It is on the network? Okay, so WrestleMania is the first official pay-per-view for Peacock.
Yep, exclusively
on Peacock.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Raw. I'll just go real quick. Some interesting stuff. I like Bobby Lashley's new intro.
I do like it.
It was pretty catchy, so much that they had to show it twice in one night. Totally steamrolled over The Miz. I wouldn't have had it any other way. And I mean, the only thing that was kind of a good match, I think, was the Sheamus and Drew McIntyre match. It was actually a decent match.
Yeah, it was.
You've already seen it again. I was kind of like, all right, I'm a little invested in time to watching this. I'm pretty sure that probably might drag on. Well, I know it's going to drag out to Fastlane, but that'll probably be the end of that. Because obviously,
did you see the post on social media with Sheamus and Drew's backs, like after the match?
No,
I didn't see that.
Holy shit!
So on Drew McIntyre was showing in the match.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it used to look like.
Bro, like unbelievable. Like those guys killed each other for this match. So
yeah, I was like, I just couldn't like how his face is between the steel chair when it goes down, and I'm just going, dude, like you're really going to hurt yourself. I'm thinking to myself, like, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
It made it believable because kind of in a way, it's kind of like maybe in two ways, like, okay, the head injury, like if your head flung forward, but also too, a bit of a crescendo sort of, because it's like a V shape. And so when you had both of those steel steps hit together, it would reverberate, sound out of both of those sides is my best scientific hypothesis of how that could be explained.
So tell us then, do you verbiate sound out of both your ends?
Well, the proper wording, isn't it when it's like something vibrates and it creates a sound?
Reverberate. Yeah.
I was close, but no cigar. Thank you. But good match. Good match.
That was. Are you guys liking where this Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon's going?
Okay.
Oh my God. If I never see a promo like this again from either guy, I will be very happy. Woo!
Backing up the whole time he kept saying, I was like, you got in the ring, got out the ring, walking all over the place. Like, what the fuck was it sound? Or was
I was wondering if I was having a fever dream and just hallucinating while this shit was going on, because It was completely illogical. I mean, it was bad. It was probably one of the worst in-ring promos I've seen in a very long time in WWE.
Yeah.
And Shane breathing was annoying.
But in the end, did you not like Shane for what he did?
I like what he did. I just wish we could have got to it quicker.
No. I'm asking. Did you just said like that breathing that was annoying to you? Was what he was doing effectively making you mad about what he was doing?
It wasn't making me mad. I just thought it was pointless. That's all.
Fair enough. They have to turn him heel, and that's one of the reasons that they did that.
Yeah.
Was it executed great? No, not necessarily, but at the same time, listen, how the fuck are you gonna turn him heel against a guy who's a monster? You know, it's complicated. The best thing is that in the end, we're about to see Shane probably do something really stupid and get his ass handed to him.
No, what's going to happen is Strowman is going to throw him off the pirate ship.
Yeah, exactly. Which is him doing something pointlessly dangerous and his ass getting handed to him. At least, you know, listen.
Oh my God.
The honest thing is, at least they will have some kind of crash pad. If you would have thought 20 years ago, they probably wouldn't have had a crash pad. So at least they've gotten safer.
Well, there's that.
Wouldn't it come in some fucking water if it's a pirate ship?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll bring in water into the stadium because
I'm just wondering.
Either that or else, I don't know, maybe Braun like loads him into the cannon of the ship and actually fires Shane McMahon out of the cannon. I mean, there's an idea.
Uncle Brucey, I will pay WrestleMania prices to see Shane McMahon get shot out of a cannon, like a human cannonball.
That would be awesome, actually.
I could just see Shane O'Mac getting fired out of a cannon. He'd be flying out of there. He'd be like a big gray and purple sweaty ball just flying through the air. It'd be hilarious.
You know what happens though? As he gets pulled back by gravity, he starts looking like Vince.
Oh shit.
But the funny thing is, WWE, if they were to try some shit like that, it would probably be a lot better than us getting excited like we were with AEW with the ring exploding.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
hey, look, Sean
I'm trying to forget that already. All right, bro.
Yeah, sure.
That was a week ago?
No, dude, I know.
Wow.
Anything else? And shout out to Shant that just jumped on to the on the chat. Anything else you guys? What's up?
I just said, "What up, Shant?"
Yes. You guys are liking the what you're seeing from the women's tag team champions from Raw. Nia Jax here, and
Friday night was even better, man.
Yeah, it was. Maybe we'll wait till that to talk about that. But how about AJ Styles, Orton? Do you guys like good match? Yeah.
Well, it's not even the match per se. It's that what they're doing with the Fiend build-up. This is I mean, some people are hating it with but honestly, it just makes sense. Like, why not give something that is supernatural to the storyline? Fuck.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
Go all out. All out. I mean, why you're already starting to do magic, and you've duplicated the Papa Shango like puking black viscous material. I mean, why not just go full bore? I mean, you've already set a guy on fire, burned him to a damn crisp. Fuck it. Why not? And the last time that these guys fought at WrestleMania, you guys forget, we had maggots and bugs and snakes and all sorts of other random shit projected onto the mat via a projector.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know, they do the real thing this time.
Actually, somebody land in a puddle of just maggots. That would be
That's
fun.
what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Disgusting, but amazing.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't want to be ringside for that if they brought in real.
Well,
Impact don't even lie.
Hold on.
You would be there and you would just love it.
Well, if you want to be ringside, doesn't tickets go on sale this week?
Yeah.
This week, right?
Yeah. Make sure if you guys are going to be in the splash zone though, that you like wear one of those like parkas and shit so that you don't get all the maggots and all the disgustingness on you.
Wait a minute. They should be wearing parkas and shit because they're in Florida. So you don't want to get the maggots and shit all over you just from sitting next to someone.
That's true. I'm thinking about the COVID splash, let alone the maggot splash. Man.
Splash. The minute you go into Texas or Florida, it is a COVID splash. Always.
Man. Well, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, tickets going to sell. Is it tomorrow or Monday? Or
it's Monday from what they were talking about.
Monday, yeah.
Remember.
They have limited seats if you want to go both nights, and then
what's the better occupancy that they're allowing them to do?
I thought it was 35,000.
35K.
But what would the percentage of what's in that ring? Did anybody do the math? I sure the fuck did.
Probably close to half, because I'm sure it's close to 70, 60 something.
Yeah, I thought that the arena capacity is like 80K. So it's just under half.
Because I think that they would have, their sellout would have been like, let's say 90K is what they would have said. So generally when that happens, you're talking 70 to 80K. Most likely they asked for a little bit more leniency. So you're probably talking, they're going to try to sell, I think 30 to 35, but they'll probably end up saying 40 to 45.
Now, let me ask you this question. I can't remember what the number was. What was the number for the Super Bowl? And then also too, whatever that number is, because
the Super Bowl was at 25,000.
Okay, 25,000. So with both nights for WrestleMania, if they did, because I did look in the chat, and Shant did say 50% possibly for capacity for both nights. Would that come close to what the Super Bowl did in one night? I'm just curious. Probably not. They'd probably only get lucky if you're lucky. Probably would.
Did you just listen to what DJ said?
Well, what part did DJ say?
Give that answer again, DJ. What did the Super Bowl have?
They had 25,000.
Oh, 25,000?
Yeah.
Fine.
So you didn't listen to what DJ said.
I thought he said another number, but go ahead. I'm my bad. Well, the only reason why I did bring that up is, okay, so WrestleMania has potentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the biggest live event, well, not live events, but biggest events in a stadium that's happened COVID era. I'm just wondering, is that no? Am I wrong with asking that question?
The answer would be yes, because there's only been the Super Bowl so far.
Well, that's because I don't stay glued to the TV. Okay, so it gets to my point. My point is this: all eyes are kind of on them in general, just kind of seeing what the atmosphere is going to look like moving forward for other events and other things coming up. So I mean, it's kind of cool to kind of see that a little bit. Like, hey, WWE getting some shine. We the first one to do it. Fuck y'all, we gonna make that money.
Well,
yeah, this is nothing new.
Yeah.
Well, we know it's nothing new, but I'm saying in a COVID era, it's kind of cool.
Simon, I can guarantee that at some point along the line, Vince McMahon looked at himself in the mirror and said exactly what you just said.
Which part? We're gonna make that money?
Yes. Well, all of it.
Oh.
Your entire little monologue there.
And you got to remember, they were the first ones to, right after September 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
the first ones to get back to. They were the first event back. So,
which is pretty interesting because it's like, why would you not want wrestling? Just in general, like it's just a big money thing, you know. If I owned a network, I would want wrestling. Let's go put it at that.
Well, we'll see. Listen, as a person who loved going to WrestleMania, this is one of the ones where I was very happy to say that I'll pass and just will a tip for next year, because it just doesn't make any sense right now. We're getting close to be out of it, but we're not out of it. And because of that, you still have these opportunities to have what they call a super spreader event. If people, if you have 45, 35, whatever 1,000 people show up, and even half of them haven't even gotten vaccinated, even their first shot, let alone not even doing it at all, and they're just living their life. I mean, that's just a big risk to take, and it's not as if that they're going to have a bunch of people walking up and down the aisle saying, hey man, put your mask back on, the wrestling fans, because they're just going to laugh at them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It'd be interesting, but
take that chance, even if you even have vaccinated, because they even say, like, if you had the second shot, it technically 2 to 3 weeks after your second shot. So I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't go.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happened, guys. Where that all will go to as we slowly make our way over to Mania. We'll talk a little bit more about WWE in a second, but we have to jump right over to AEW next. The only thing, Steve, that I want to mention about AEW is what was up with all of the audio issues. Was it my TV, or was you guys experiencing the same thing?
See, this is what you get for being on the East Coast feed. You people people living in the future over there. No, you fuckers, you get the NBA audio.
It was
us
horrible.
Over here on the West Coast feed, where it's delayed by 3 hours, and we have to, avoid the internet so as to not be spoiled by everything.
Sure.
My audio was just fine.
It was horrible. NBA audio coming through the matches. Are
you sure? Are you sure, DJ? You want to say it was horrible, or was it a relief not to have to listen to JR and Excalibur and Tony?
Oh my gosh.
Well, it's just funny as you're watching watching the match, you're just hearing dun dun defense, dun 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 defense. Huh?
Sorry, what was that?
Dun 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 defense.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, it's not even like there's a real crowd saying that. That's the piped in recording. Oh my God. It makes you just want to turn it off. But I just said, you know what, just mute the volume and watch the match. It was better to do it that way. Okay.
I actually think that led to quite a few people not staying watching AEW.
I'm sure it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it happened several times during the show. It wasn't like one time and that was it. It was 5 or 6 times. They seemed to just couldn't get it together. I don't know.
Oh, dude, that happened during the Ethan Page and Lee Johnson match, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously there are some fun memes over on Twitter, especially Ethan Page's Twitter. He's had some good fun with that. So,
oh, has he?
Yeah, go check that out. It's pretty funny.
I will. I'm sure. Go ahead.
But yeah, so needless to say, that happened. But also, the show actually got off to a pretty great start, in my opinion. Matt Jackson and Ray Phoenix. Now, obviously, when this match was announced, you knew what you were going to get. You knew you were going to get a spot fest. You knew that you were going to see two guys defying gravity, doing some crazy shit. And there definitely was that, but this match was pretty solid all around. It wasn't just a spot fest. So great match all around. Phoenix ended up picking up the win with his sit out tombstone. A great way to kick off the show. It got the crowd hype. It got me hyped for the show. So that's always great. And, it continues to build toward that tag team title match that we're about to get, where obviously the Young Bucks are going to retain so that they set up that match with the Good Brothers. You can just see that those two teams are, coming to a head. So that'll be interesting to see that match. Cody Rhodes squashed a guy, whatever. Whatever. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, dude. Now, the thing is, what I liked more so than this squash match, because typically AEW, they tend to think their shows through pretty well. And when this match was just, thrown out there, I didn't think anything of it. I just, I thought that it was almost a piss break. But what happened after the match was especially fun. We got Penta El Cerro Miedo and Alex Abrahantes cutting a promo on Cody Rhodes. And Alex Abrahantes is a Spanish color commentator for AEW. So he is not a manager or valet or, anything of the sort. But there toward the end of the promo, it almost felt like as if he was leaning into a heel persona a bit, going as far as what, Michaels?
Would you say, Matt?
No, I mean, listen, does everyone have to have some cockamamie thing? Like, now he's a heel fucking commentator. The owner's a heel fucking owner. Like, everyone.
That's only on Impact.
Everyone who fucking says, well, AEW is so much better than WWE. All they're doing is ripping the fucking WWE's playbook off for the fucking, what they've done for the past 30 years.
Matt, listen, Sean said, don't you turn into Simon Cornette this week, okay?
We're all going to take turns being Cornette. So this time, not a Simon Cornette. It's going to be Michael's Cornette. And then the other week, let's say Sin City starts being a little hateful. He'll be Sin City Cornette.
That remains to be seen. But yeah, so obviously the trigger line in the entire promo is Penta says that it's good that Cody didn't face him at the pay-per-view because he was going to damage his arm so bad that he wouldn't be able to ever hold his newborn baby daughter.
Yes.
So obviously that sent Cody into a tizzy. Pull apart happens, blah blah blah. I'm looking forward to seeing this match. These two guys have worked against each other in a solo capacity before and have some pretty good chemistry. So I really would like to see what happens, especially, as we progress through. I don't want to run over the entire show. I really thought that this show was very, very solid. Of course.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Solid? Come on.
What? I was very entertained by both of the Wednesday wrestling shows this week. Quite frankly, AEW and NXT put on the two best wrestling shows that we saw all week.
Yep.
Okay.
Period.
So they had one good thing that I will give them, but anytime you have a fucking Japanese person stand on stage just singing through what she's hearing in the headphone, you're telling me this is fucking fabulous? Come on.
I never said a word about that match. And I said mostly.
Yeah.
So yeah. I wasn't even going to talk about that 6-person match.
Right,
because
rewriting history a little bit to stay away from the stuff that sucks.
Isn't that largely what we do on this show? We talk about the highlights of each show, and then the respective detractors of those shows always tend to bring up the negative aspects of those shows. So obviously, I'm relying on you to bring up that 6-person match, which you did. So bravo, you did your job.
Let me ask you guys this. From what you've now seen with Moxley and Kingston and Callis, everyone making jokes, do you feel that the explanation that they were using, and Callis didn't make too much of one like Kingston and Moxley did, but do you think they did a good job trying to clear up what happened last week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How about you, Matt? Before you go into it, City. Matt, how about you? You think they did a good job explaining?
So I think that anytime I ever have to hear Kenny Omega say, hey, Don, 69 me, I've pretty much gone, okay, fuck.
Simon, let me ask you right quick. Do you think they did a good job explaining what happened?
I think it was okay. It couldn't have been any worse. than what we originally thought the week before. So
okay.
Facts.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you had Mox and Eddie Kingston cutting the promo, which was awesome to see. I mean, both of those guys, it's almost to the point where their in-ring work is great, but I would love it if they had like a 5-minute promo each week where they were just shooting the shit with each other. To be honest, like
Eddie Kingston's in-ring work is great. Come on, dude.
oh my gosh.
And by the way, it's really nice that they have this friendship, but how the fuck does it ever fit into any storyline that they're fucking been doing with Kingston?
The thing is, they did attempt a slight retcon in that promo, which I thought that was really interesting because they just glossed over it. And, you know, Mox simply saying, oh, well, I knew that wasn't you. And Eddie Kingston saying, oh, the world title does strange things to people. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. So yeah, I mean, that was what it was, but all in all, I was very pleased. And obviously the stunning realization that Impact Wrestling paid for the bomb. I mean, that's all that's all they needed to say. Quite frankly, they didn't need to do anything else. They just needed to say that Impact Wrestling bought and paid for the bomb. Thus it fucked up. There you go. And it's a completely viable explanation.
And I think Kingston was having flashbacks, just, you know, of things that happened back in his life that this was a traumatic moment for him. That's kind of why he was in that position for such a long time, you know.
He made me believe that shit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that Impact is entered into this relationship where they can just be shit on totally.
I know, right?
Hey man. Basically, I guess that they're under the belief that more eyes are, you know, on their product for good or for bad, and that, you know, any press is good press. I mean, that's the only thing that I can figure, because yeah, they are getting shit on. And like I said, Kenny Omega is going to win the Impact Championship at their next pay-per-view. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
I mean, the writing's clearly on the wall. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they ever get, you know, any kind of saving grace, or if they get any kind of shine back or any of that kind of stuff. Nothing that I say on this show will do justice for the Darby Allin and Scorpio Sky match. I thought that those guys both just put on a hell of a show. I was thoroughly entertained by this match. Other than the NXT main event, this was the best thing that I saw all week.
Can I jump in here? Yeah. I think Scorpio Sky, as far as I'm concerned, why don't they keep him out of championship matches until they're ready to give him a title? Because when I see him have this match, he has his match now with Darby, he had one with Cody. These are all great matches. Everyone talks about the idea of him needing and should be champion. But no matter what, he always seems to just consistently lose, which now the whole idea of him should be champion, now you begin to think, well, the way you guys make it seem like maybe he shouldn't. At what point now is he, I mean, how long are we going to build up on this before you're just going to give him
You just saw it.
opportunity?
Yeah.
You just saw it. Turning him heel. This is it. He's getting run. The one thing that was a telltale was the fact that they showed Daniels and Kaz earlier on in the stands, but during that match, nothing. No mention of us. So you're looking at it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's man. And that's the thing is, yes, he lost this match, but in my opinion, he ended up coming off with the most improvement on his stock, literally. I mean, he turned and he laid the other guy out. He came out of this match looking better than Darby Allin did.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why it always trips me out when I'm like, I'm like, why is he not?
Dude, we're about ready to see him get his push. He's probably going to beat Darby for the championship at the next pay-per-view.
Oh yeah,
but first he has to go through Sting, because in the mindset, someone backstage is going, "Hey, we have Stinger who has the Scorpion Deathlock, and we have Scorpio Sky." Oh, put it.
No, because Sting is about ready to be murdered by the Murder Hawk monster.
Put out back and shot.
Taken out to the woodshed and put out of his misery.
Like, oh,
I did like the callback with Jake Roberts out there, though. Maybe at the pay-per-view they'll have a spin the wheel, make the deal match.
I was thinking that's the only thing that makes sense, is just have Sting wrestle Jake Roberts. They're about the same.
Fuck it, why not? But no, in all seriousness, yeah, it'll end up being and realistically it should be Lance Archer that goes over Sting at the pay-per-view in a pretty dominating fashion, even if they don't have a gimmick with it. But yeah, that needs to be one of the major wins for Archer. Last but most certainly not least, gentlemen, we had the Inner Circle War Council. Easy enough for me to say. So obviously, you have MJF out there, and geez, where to begin with this thing? So you had the idea that things needed to change in the Inner Circle. Chris Jericho brings up the fact, we maybe need to add somebody. MJF says, no. I think we actually need to remove somebody. And then obviously Sammy Guevara's music hits. He comes out and plays a tape from a hidden camera that he just so happened to place in the Inner Circle dressing room. And it just so happened to have enough battery and enough footage to capture MJF planting the seeds for this heel turn as they're going to boot Chris Jericho out of the Inner Circle, which is quite frankly what most people thought that this was going to be. So long story short, that all starts to happen, and MJF ends up being the one that gets turned on, and Jericho does utter the line, "Do you think we're stupid? Do you not think that we talk to each other outside of this TV show?" Which I thought was a pretty funny kind of a jab, because how many times when we're watching wrestling shows, no matter what brand it is, do we pick out the plot holes from week to week? But for some reason, the people that are on those shows, they can't pick out those same plot holes. So I thought that was really, really well done. They get MJF backing into a corner, being a little bitch. And then he finally utters the line that I was never wanting to take over the Inner Circle because I was too busy creating my own faction. Lights go out. And then you have Tully Blanchard, FTR, Sean Spears, who has a bleach blonde mohawk now.
Wait,
and Wardlow.
Now, wait, he's had that for the last 2 weeks, bro.
Sweet.
Yeah, he has actually.
It still looks ridiculous.
It nonetheless, man, it's
some shit.
Just go ball, bro.
Why is he there? That's my question.
I don't know. So yeah, you have a full scale beat down of the Inner Circle and this new group, which I believe that I read on the internet. Hopefully it's not a spoiler. They're calling themselves the Pinnacle. They are going to be feuding with a now babyface Inner Circle. So that's going to give us Santana and Ortiz against FTR. Yes, please. I'll take some of that, please. Jake Hager and Wardlow. Of course, we're going to get, Sammy and Sammy and Sean Spears, and then MJF and Jericho. So it looks like as if that's going to be how everything's kind of broken down as far as the feuding goes. Yeah, in the show went off the air as Chris Jericho gets powerbombed off the stage through an inflatable crash pad that was painfully obvious that it was an inflatable crash pad.
I'm like, oh
but nonetheless, it is what it is. I think Impact was very Impact, Jesus. I think Dynamite was very entertaining this week. Yeah, it is what it is. And their rating, though, was down 20% week over week. So not very good. Obviously, I'm sure that the sparkler and Roman candle display at their pay-per-view on Sunday hurt their rating. It had to have hurt their rating. Between that and the audio issues with the Ethan Page and Lee Johnson match didn't exactly help matters much either.
I think though, so last week, the question I posed out there is, if you're creating a new horseman, who's your Ric Flair? They have their Ric Flair.
Yep.
The only thing that doesn't make sense is why Sean Spears there, because in all honesty, he adds nothing right now.
Sammy Guevara has to squash somebody.
Well, that's what it comes down to. I mean, in all realistic. But the biggest thing is the way that JR was selling Wardlow. He's either, if they don't push him to the moon, then that was really fucking stupid, because he has not been talked about like that the whole fucking time he's been in there.
Nope.
And now all of a sudden it's like, he's a monster. It's like, no shit, dude. Have you not looked at this guy for fucking the last 6 months, 8 months? So it was great. And I think that here's the thing. These are the only two factions you fucking need. Period. Break everyone else up, because it makes it more meaningful when these are your two factions that are feuding, and you don't have to put up with all the nonsense of fucking 8 guys getting onto a goddamn fucking lawnmower that apparently Adam Page bought for no fuck. I mean, good God, for Christ's sake. Some of their stuff is just horseshit. And I wish that people would actually have the balls to come out and say it. Not you, that's not a knock at you, Steve. I want you to know that. Honestly, personally, that is not a knock. But I'm talking about the people who like to go out and, put out diatribes about how good AEW is. And it's like, you know what? Call your bullshit out. I mean, that whole thing is bullshit. The way they're handling that guy is bullshit. The Dark Order itself is it's non-existent now. Just fucking dissolve it, man.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Weeks ago or a month ago.
As soon as the tribute show.
In the best way for them to kind of go away in a tasteful way. Right now, it just seems like a wounded animal that just, we keep hearing it dying, and it just needs to die.
Like the women's division.
Oh, damn, bro.
And with that, let's jump over into NXT and let's talk about what happened.
So, really quick, the last thing that I want to say about the Maki Ito standing on the stage singing thing is evidently, so there was a screenshot that was floating around on the internet of a closed caption that came on during when Maki Ito was singing that song. Really? It literally says Maki Ito singing in Japanese, mediocre at best.
What?
I swear to God.
Hey, that's awesome. That's
awesome.
I like that.
So it was absolutely hilarious.
You gotta that poor caption guy probably got to that point.
Right.
Like, oh fuck it. I'm just
right.
Cooler with that whole segment, Sin City Steve, is if she had a teleprompter like she was doing karaoke.
Oh, dude. Like she didn't need the teleprompter. She was just knocking that shit out.
She didn't need the headphones.
Right.
Or
she was singing to the voices in her head, right?
Exactly.
But I didn't mean to derail you.
NXT.
No big deal. So NXT, where 3 of the 5 championships were defended on Wednesday. Let's start with the women, since Matt Michaels, put that little voice in my head. The first thing I will say is when you are gifted something, you really should practice not being undeserving. And unfortunately, that's what Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez got that night. That shit was just funny. I mean, the title belts look cute.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to the women's tag team belts. It's just different. It just says NXT on it. But you know, they came out dog shitting everybody down on the thing. And when I was watching this, I knew some shit was gonna happen. I was like, I know something about to happen because they was just dogging everybody. And I was like, okay. And so, you know, that pretty much led to the match that was going to happen with Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. And I'm not going to go all into that match. I felt that match wasn't amazing, but, you know, if it was the only way to take the belts off of Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, then cool. I think that it's kind of funny, though, how Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez were the first ever NXT tag team champions, but they didn't get a picture with Triple H. They didn't get a standing ovation. So it just was kind of interesting to me. I'm sure there's much more to that. I just thought it was kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But the big stuff of the night that, you know, the NXT Women's Championship was freaking, I enjoyed that match. Io Shirai, Toni Storm, really freaking fantastic match. So much, in fact, that I was just kind of like, man, like, could go either way. But, you know, Io Shirai, man, I tell you, she's still pulling out them W's night after night. So I wasn't too unhappy with the end result of that one. Before I go into any other matches, the one cool thing I did like about NXT was a lot of the stuff you saw in between the scenes that was really, really cool. The one thing I'm gonna really chime in on is Jordan Devlin. I like how they showed like him talking about he's going to be back in the U.S. His traveling pass has been approved, and we're gonna find out who the real NXT Cruiserweight Champion is. And to even make it more exciting, before Legado del Fantasma was coming out, you see an exchange between you know, the current NXT Cruiserweight Champion and William Regal kind of going back and forth. So that makes it a little bit more interesting what's going to happen this upcoming NXT. And I was just kind of like, that's really cool. I know we've seen this before in wrestling history where there's two champs. I'm curious to see if they're going to do something different. Do you guys think that they might do something different because it's NXT and it's not main roster WWE, who tends to, well, let's do what we did a long time ago. And there was two, what was it before? Was it the Cruiserweight Champions? And when there two of them,
Intercontinental, the fucking ladder match at WrestleMania 10, bro.
Yeah, Thank you. Are they going to do something different? Do you think they'll do something different? Or are they going to kind of do the same shit we always kind of see when there's two people of the same title? No,
I mean, you could peel off the title, you know, put one exclusively as a 205 Live title or something like that, but really, I think in the end, here's the thing. They were stuck in a situation where their champion was caught in a pandemic. He couldn't come over here. So they now need an out on that. And, you know, what's interesting, though, is by having Phantasma win, they were looking more like baby faces in some sense. I think that you're going to see a split happen.
A split between Legado del Fantasma? That
Well, them and what's his Santos Escobar.
That could actually be interesting, to be honest with you. I'd be cool with that. Some other couple of things behind the scenes that I thought was kind of interesting, kind of came out of nowhere. Well, not came out of nowhere, but I was surprised they were going this direction, is when you had Imperium calling out on promo to Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. I thought that was kind of interesting. I'm like, okay, my whole thing I'm seeing when I see them is like, okay, are you going to ask your big guy, is his travel restrictions now null and void? Because I want to see Imperium as full come over to NXT and just be a powerful faction. But to no avail, it didn't happen. And I think later on in the night, you had Tommaso Ciampa tell Timothy. Every time I say Timothy, I want to say Timothy like I had no teeth. Like he said, I'm not going to do it. So just kind of interested to see what's going to happen, coming next week with that. Because Timothy Thatcher wasn't like hell to the no. So I'm wondering if maybe he's thinking about some shit in his head. And then of course, everybody's favorite LA Knight came out and was
he's not a favorite of yours? You're not liking him?
No. I have no problem with LA Knight. I just have A in the night, but that's my personal taste. Again, you know, man, his promo skills are, to me, are top notch. I enjoy hearing him talk. I know, you know, he's like Miz 2.0. Some people have said. I just enjoy watching him. And then, you know, of course, Bronson Reed, big boy. I guess some stuff's going to happen with him those 2 next weeks. So super excited how NXT was showing stuff between, you know, between the matches, kind of leading up what's going to happen this week. But the biggest thing of the night, there was other good matches. Before I go to the main event, one cool thing that I did like was how they did Zoe Stark's little promo about how she's coming through. And it looked really good. It looked really, really good. And I mean, I think we all know how big of an impact she's going to make. I don't foresee NXT fucking it up. That's,
but
I haven't seen it before if it has come out before. What's up, Mike?
No, think about this. And this is really remarkable. The WWE doesn't have a track history of taking people who have no real prior experience. So you could say Kevin Cross, the reason that Cross has been put in this elevated position is because he had a lot of experience between Lucha Underground and Impact. Experience, real experience.
Mm-hmm.
Lacey hasn't. Zoe has literally showed up and worked her. I mean, not even a fucking 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Already making
an huge fucking impact. So that goes to show you, if you're a young wrestler out there, your work ethic, if it's that solid, everything she said in that video was fucking true.
Yep.
So,
and that's the cool thing too, Michaels, because like I said, that you know firsthand, and we all know firsthand what her work ethic is. And some of us have had the opportunity to see it in real time. So to see that, get totally just go over to the next level NXT, I mean, it's paying off. It's truly paying off. And anybody who's ever worked with her in the past already know. They're probably not surprised. It was just
so one of the telltale things, because even before that video ran, you saw when they were at the beginning of the show out on the ramp, they positioned her in the fucking front.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Even was pointing out when they was dogging the whole roster, she's like, "You ain't face me."
Yep.
I say, "You ain't face me, bitches." I felt like that point kind of said that. But yeah, you're right, Michaels. You're right.
Yeah, so they're doing something that they rarely ever fucking do, and that is they're looking at the talent and trusting her that she can achieve whatever they need her to do, which is spectacular.
And it's interesting how we talk about work ethic, and we talk about many of the people in this business that have been truly, truly great. Like your John Cena's, like he's the first person that comes to mind. Strong work ethic. Almost anybody I've ever heard talk about just a strong work ethic. And I'm sure there's other names, and I would take the time to really go through it.
Can I stop you right there for a second? Let me stop you right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you said John Cena. There's a connection. John Cena and Zoe Stark were both trained by Tom Howard.
Hmm.
Yeah, nice.
So that says a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that strong work ethic, even outside the ring, just in general in your regular life, you put in strong work ethic, you get out what you put in. And I'm very super excited about what's coming down the pipeline for Zoe Stark. She's going to shine. Another thing I'll do before I get to the main event, I was almost going to...
Simon, not to interrupt you, but going to the chat, Sean actually says that they sunk their teeth into her at the tryout. She was immediately put into the Dusty Cup tournament, which filmed before they announced her signing.
Yep.
Wow. See, I didn't even know that. Wow. Well, she can handle it under pressure,
Yep.
It just kind of showed her. Very true. The one thing I was going to say, and I almost forgot, and thankfully I didn't. some good telltale signs. Finally, we're going to see a matchup. I don't know where the fuck it's going to go. Impact's going to be scratching his head because he seems to have a problem about smaller people facing bigger people. Io Shirai confronts Raquel Gonzalez backstage and says, "I want you next." So,
and that's your answer to why that title reign lasted like it did. Is there was never really any attention because they're going to move to Indy and Candice going after the titles, and it's time for Raquel to go her own way, and then you have Dakota Kai going against Zoe.
That makes
because
sense.
You saw the seed planted very quickly in that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. So Impact, whenever this match comes about, I'm gonna call you first and find out before the match actually. What do you think? Because it's hard for you to be able to figure out matches where it's a smaller person, a bigger person. So I'll call.
No, I can figure that out. My whole thing is you have to be able to make the match believable. And if you can do that, I don't have a problem with it. Okay. You know, it's just that sometimes it's hard to see that just on paper, you know, but when you actually see it happen, it's either believable or it isn't.
It's true.
So I think it can happen.
All right. Without further ado, the main event, and boy, it's a motherfucking main event. I was excited from the time the bell sounded. Did you guys expect less though? Did you expect less? Because I sure fucking didn't. And they still even left me like, I was like, wow, like this is fucking amazing. NXT Championship, Finn Balor, Adam Cole, the best of the best, I would say, within this era to kind of do it. And maybe I'm speaking too much, but, you know, awesome match. And then, you know, from the beginning of the ring bell, what made it interesting is what happened at the end that I would say was really freaking cool is you obviously have O'Reilly coming out, you know, and causing a bit of distraction. Once Finn won was interesting. The telltale thing that I thought was interesting is O'Reilly got in to the ring, ripped off the Undisputed Era armband off of Kyle O'Reilly, and then, you know, obviously was beating his ass, mounted him and beat his ass. I thought that was telltale because I think a lot of people, and maybe I'm wrong, Michaels, that everybody kind of assumed when they broke up, it was going to be a breakup, but maybe it's not a breakup. Maybe it means like, nah, Cole, you out, bro. You out. And then, you know, the Undisputed Era moves on, maybe in some kind of direction. I don't want to, you know.
Here's the problem. Because that's what I've figured they'd be doing a couple months now. That's what I've thought. But you got a couple of problems. Bobby Fish is still on the DL, man. So we haven't even seen him in months now.
Yep.
And then what they did with Roddy, it'd be interesting to see if they can keep those two together and then bring Fish back and then maybe add another person. But I think really the symbolic thing is that he pulled it off. It's fucking over.
That it could be definitely that. And again,
because remember, he did specifically yell in his face, "You did this," and then fucking started wailing on him.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. And just when you think that was the end, nah, it wasn't the end. And this is some slick ass shit. This was some cold shit. You got Finn Balor with the title over his belt, just chilling, and all of a sudden he's like, "I was waiting when you would show up."
What took you so long?
Maybe that's what it was. What took you so long? It was still slick as shit. Then you have, you know, you have freaking Karrion Kross behind there just waiting. We all go ahead.
No, the coolest thing about this, potential wise, is we haven't seen the Demon character in a long time.
Yes.
So if there's one thing that needs a little prodding out of Finn, it needs to be that Demon, and one guy could bring that out, and that's Cross, and that could be fucking, I mean, Jesus.
You know what's kind of interesting about it, and because I fortunately was able to tape it on 2 different platforms to watch NXT. when I taped it on my YouTube TV, it cut short, so we weren't able to see Finn Balor point his finger on Karrion Kross. And then when I had it taped on a different platform, they were able to show it. And I thought that was really freaking cool, because I was like, man, that's some bold ass shit, because Karrion Kross, he is that motherfucker. And I say motherfucker gracefully. You call in to wreck shit. So if you're going to point your finger at that man's forehead, you better be prepared to unload. And that's where I'm with you 100%, Matt Michaels. Bring that fucking demon out, because that's some bullshit. Some bullshit. But man, I mean, like I said, I could have went on about other matches at NXT. NXT, I felt, was the quality show this week. And then AEW, even though, yes, there were some sound problems and, the girl singing. But yeah, awesome, hands down, super, super awesome. That's all.
So just before we move over to the next one, and thanks for that, Simon Street. William Regal did mention that there was going to be NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver as a 2-night event beginning April 7th and in April 8th. Guys, it's going to be tons of wrestling that week. We just going to be stuck in front of a TV that entire time. But I mean, it should be good, right? I mean,
that's not too hard to kind of fathom, because remember the Great American Bash was a 2-nighter, wasn't it? Wasn't it a 2-nighter?
Yeah, but we're just talking about like the entire week of just wrestling. It's just going to be like
Raw on Monday, Hall of Fame on Tuesday.
Yeah.
NXT on Wednesday. Oh my God.
Not forgetting the other shows. Not forgetting. I mean, it's going to be
like literally 9 days in a row of shit.
So hold on. So real quick, our checklist basically is: get your favorite drink, get your favorite snacks, get your favorite edible, probably get extra edibles, get your favorite couch or chair or whatever you do, because your ass is going to be watching some wrestling. It's a beautiful time to be
forgot adult diapers.
Adult diapers, whatever French size you have, we ain't here to judge. Get it ready.
Yeah. Well, definitely prepare for that time, because it's coming up, man.
And if you got a girlfriend, all I got to tell you, you better say I'm gone until the end of the week. And if you're lucky because she watched wrestling with you, then hell, that's a beautiful match made in heaven.
No doubt, no doubt. So I'll be real quick with this. We still got to get to SmackDown, and then just a quick mention with New Japan. Ring of Honor did something different this week. They had 3 matches instead of their normal 2. And of course, they are building up to their big event, which is the 19th anniversary, which will be March 26th. So that's going to be pretty good. 3 matches they had. Fred Yehi was went against Dak Draper in a Pure Rules match. And that was a really good match. Dak actually had a closed fist that he used against Fred Yehi, which is against Pure Rules. You use that one time, you get a warning, the next time you're out. So he did use that closed fist, and yes, he got the warning, but that one time closed fist is knocked out Fred for the rest, pretty much the rest of the match. Dak just took him out real quick. So, and that was one of the things I think Rick Abani was saying, is that some people, although they know the rules, they know they could kind of take advantage if they know they can get away with it once and they have that effect. They might try it. So Dak Draper did end up winning that one. Kenny King had a match, of course, from LFI against Tony Deppen. And that was a really good match. Kenny had Tony beat several times, but he just kept playing around with Tony Deppen to the point where Tony Deppen eventually got the 3 count on Kenny King. So, yeah, he ended up getting that. And then that caused a beatdown on Tony Deppen, because, of course, the whole LFI group is there. And then who made a return was Brody King. We hadn't seen Brody King in a minute. So he came in to try to fight them off. But, of course, he even got that beat down. He even went through a table as well, because there's 3 of them, 4 if you add Amy, against just him. So that happened. The very last match was Flamita versus Flip Gordon, which was a really good match there. Flip wants to get back into getting into a title shot. And I guess I wasn't familiar with that with Flamita, who's a luchador. He took his mask off last year or sometime during the match, which, of course, that's an absolute no-no. And so they had this match this time. And believe it or not, he actually took his mask off again. This was after the match where Flamita won the match. He took it off. And the only reason why he lost, Flip Gordon, is because Mark Briscoe decided to hit him with a chair during that match. And apparently there was some issue with Mark and Flip that happened in the past, that Mark was just getting that retribution back at us. So it made Flip Gordon miss that. So now he's really upset because that was his opportunity of getting back into the Ring of Honor title shot, and he's not going to get it. Flamita did. So great wrestling is normal, guys. If you can find Ring of Honor, watch it. It's still 1 hour. It doesn't matter if they do 2 matches or 3 hours, 2 matches or 3 matches. It's only 1 hour, and they put a lot into it, and you get pretty involved in the matches. So that was Ring of Honor this week. All right, SmackDown. Matt Michaels.
We'll go through it fairly quick.
Yeah.
Can we see Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns in a triple threat match? Maybe that's where they're headed.
Let me tell you this, Matt. I gotta tell you, I'm sure you guys, was not that promo between both Daniel and Edge was just on point. I mean, it was just one of the great promos I've seen in a while. I was just kind of like, and I like how Edge ended it. He said, he told him, "You're better than this, but you're not better than me." I love how Edge has been on fire. When people come back, when they go and come back and then they have, of course, some years on them, you go, oh, why? But Edge is one of those ones, I gotta be honest with you, man. He is selling like he can handle himself in all of these type of matches. And I'm just enjoying him. He's really selling this WrestleMania for me from him. So, shout out to him. And I just love that promo with him and Daniel. So yeah, man, I'm sorry.
One quick thing to Michael's, real quick, Michael, sorry. One thing to Edge, because you make a good point, Impact.
Mm-hmm.
I think reason why it works so well for a lot of us is because we know where Edge has come from. Like in reality, that neck injury was career ending 120%. Mm-hmm. But he's, from the start he came back, it's just full speed. Like, I'm gonna give it everything I got. I don't give a shit. This might be the only chance I got. And you feel that every match Edge has gone through. Mm-hmm. And even up till now, it's like, we don't know. Could this be the last part? Could this be okay after this match? Or, whatever. It's going to end eventually. You don't see him in, 5 years. You see it however long there's gas tank there. There's gas in the tank. I'm going to keep pushing. And that what gets me excited about Edge. Yeah,
and that was Daniel's storyline. He was like, look, I don't know if I'm going to have another Mania match after this. This is my last one, might be. He was selling it like this might be it. So I gotta put all into this. Really good stuff. I love the promo there.
Yeah, it the potential setup could either be a triple threat. You could have Edge win the belt and then Daniel becomes the heel for like the first feud afterwards, if you want to see just those two going at it. But Paul Heyman again steals the show on Talking Smack by saying Christian, instead of facing the beatdown that he was going to get from Roman Reigns for being Edge's friend, just jumped ship and went elsewhere. Which,
wow,
again,
straight shots,
dude. He's on another level.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I mean, the work he did outside the door when Jay approached the door.
Wait, have you talked to him yet? Love that. Yeah.
And then Jay's counter of, I got some stuff to go take care of. I'll be back. Oh, yeah. By that time he'll be fine for you. He'll be good by then. Yeah.
That was great. Yes.
And then the idea of having Edge talk to Jay and bring the fact that he was just a little kid back when Edge was wrestling in the Attitude Era, and just that idea of personalizing the fact of, do you want to go through this? This is ridiculous that you're putting yourself through this. And then Jay countering with, you don't know what it's like in my family. And how many people can attest to that? Like, it's a relatable thing that they're doing. And eventually, we're going to see it will blow up at some point, but for now, it's great to string it out a little bit and put those little seeds there that it's going to happen. Then you got one of the greatest guys on this planet and Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Man. Just so great. First of all,
I accept. Oh,
yeah.
He's on another level right now. It's
seriously.
And honestly, now that I'm hearing this phrase on another level, I think that from now on we should say in each one of our shows, if ever it comes up, who's on another level. I'm just saying, because there's quite a few guys that are on a different level.
Okay, we can do that. So anyway,
I love the way you say it. Like, okay, that's cute. And on to the next one.
No, I think that, when you look at what he's doing, the whole camera crew thing now, again, following him, even though he, mugged one of his camera guys last week.
Right.
And finally getting, running into KO, which it was, you'd think that two guys who have been friends all this time, when you're talking about that whole idea of, outside of the ring, they bump into each other for the first time, apparently, since Sami's been doing this. And now Sami wants him in that documentary, and KO gives him the blank card as a souvenir. Oh my God. Just great stuff. And, the perfect match to set up Big E, getting jumped by Apollo. Boy, you have to feel that you might put the belt onto Apollo at Mania, potentially. And then that would be the start of elevating Big E towards the title shot.
I agree with you 100%. I enjoy Big E a lot better when he's chasing. That's not to say he can't be a good champion, but with this Intercontinental champion, I enjoy the chasing, but
yeah. So it very well could be.
Needs it more.
Yeah,
especially with this character development, he needs it.
Yeah, I mean, because this is the last ditch effort. This is the last shot, and you will see. Personally, I would have loved to have seen the guard patrol that he had last week. I would have loved to seen them come in and do the dirty work. Do kind of what Angle did years ago with Haas and Benjamin. Have two guys with you who do all the dirty work, so you can just run your mouth. And hopefully, if you put the title on him, that's what you'll get, because then you have a true heel.
I'm glad you said that, because I want that kind of thing to happen when he gets the title. I want to see it now.
Otherwise, we got to bring up those women champions, man. Oh man, this Reginald Nia thing has to be one of my favorite things they've done in forever. To think that you went from Reginald being a sommelier and Nia having her hole wrecked to now potentially him wrecking her hole. I don't know exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But man, oh dude, the whole idea of Shayna sitting in there like fucking look at her phone like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
After that vignette, which is a true throwback type, when they can come up with those things that are the true throwbacks to giving you a little taste of what made the WWE very entertaining throughout their 40-year run here. To come back on a shot of Cole and Graves sitting there,
right,
looking like what the fuck did we just watch?
Right, right. At one point, did it look like Cole was looked like he was trying not to laugh at one point when he was starting to talk?
Yeah, because Graves was nailing it, and like the just oddness of how these two are together now.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, that's not odd though. You know, that big little combination is what I call it. That's awkward in real life, because I have a couple friends that's like that. I'm like, okay, well, that's what you're into, you know. Hey.
Sure, but again, you know, it wasn't necessarily the. It's just that this is what they just watched, and the capper was Graves going, so he just bought something he already has. like
right.
Like we just spent all this time watching him try on all these suits, but he already wears these types of suits to the ring. So
right.
What was the point? But you know, a nice little setup for the tag match. Obviously Bianca and Bailey, or Bianca and Sasha, I think they're fucking it up. I think Bianca should have been the heel. Sasha is a fucking horrible heel. I really think that she shines as a face. You know, with Bailey, it was the other way around. Bailey, she was really, people didn't give a shit that she was a face. When she became heel, oh wow, this is great. But Sasha just getting from face to heel, and Bianca actually is a stronger presence in the ring.
I agree. And that's me saying it. I agree.
Yeah, so that's just tough, because I like Sasha a lot. I think she's an excellent personality, an excellent wrestler. It's just you're seeing what is going to be the problem with going against Bianca. She has such a strong personality that you have to match that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, when Becky comes back, there's your match.
Yep. I agree.
That's a fucking money match. That's a WrestleMania fucking headliner.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen, you know, within the next year or two. But I'd say, you know, you look 3 years down the line, that could be a possibility. So
now, Michaels, I will say this to kind of add to what you're saying with Sasha being a better face. But let's look on the other side of that. What if her in this heel capacity, which we know she's capable of, but not as best as with her face, what if she really went extra hard on being like a heel, just despicable, just truly despicable? Would that be something that would maybe seem feasible heading into WrestleMania? Not Fastlane, but heading into WrestleMania?
So the problem is this. Even if you make her more despicable, Bianca still has a bigger presence. So what you will end up doing is having a potential problem of doing something that's so over the top, i.e., you know, Vince likes stuff like dumping shit all over people, right?
First thing I thought of too. Yeah.
So it's really hard. And the problem she's facing too is that I think no matter if Bianca was the face or the heel, she's just so fucking, you gravitate towards her.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. She's come from a spot where she was a hard worker and was someone who had to learn the business. And as soon as she started getting it and it started falling in place for her, it's at a point now where there's really no turning back. That is there's number one on your future list right there.
Yeah.
You know, and especially, this is the interesting too, especially with the fact that with the women, you're always going to have the potential of one of them having to go on maternity leave. So you might even see shorter careers than some of the women who just want to be a mom for a couple of years. You know, I think we're already seeing that a little bit, maybe in Becky not being back as quick as people thought she would.
Yeah.
So they got, I mean, at least you have fucking, you know, if you look at the NXT pipeline and you look at what they already have on the main roster, honestly, you know, you could argue that they could probably do a separate show that is just women.
Yep.
And probably at least draw 500,000 to 700,000 people watching every week.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. They're definitely there. And it's interesting you say that because I think it was year one of our show, Vegas Bad Boyz podcast. And we talked about that subject of when would we think it would be time or for the women to have their own show on WWE. So it's interesting now that we're bringing that topic back up again.
And which is why I think, you know, going back to what I mentioned several weeks back, I think Triple H is going to keep his eye out on Jade over there on AEW, because the potential of having Jade in a Bianca match, I just think would be huge.
You want to see that match, don't you?
I do. I want to see that match.
You just want to see him oiled up. But
well, no, just the strength of
but Impact, let's be real. If that shit happened right now.
Well, I wouldn't want it right now.
Okay. So how many years are we gonna have to put on Jade? I think she at least needs a year to 2 years before she's even remotely close to what Bianca's doing. And that's nothing against Jade. I just don't see her progress that good.
But the one thing you're missing is that she's getting the experience now.
Right, exactly.
It just all depends on who gets a hold of her. I think maybe I should put it that way.
No. What I'm saying is that she's in the capacity on AEW in which she needs to be, because they need to elevate the division.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, she's getting actual camera work on a big production show. She needs a lot more experience. She's green as fuck.
Yep.
Well, she could be a god.
And I also point out too, we know what the state of the women's division AEW is. Does that hinder some of her progression, or could she have a better progression path if there was a more established women's division AEW?
She goes through NXT regardless.
She got to go through NXT. Yep.
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't bring her in and just throw her onto the main roster.
It'd be a disaster.
Well, and it's interesting you say that, because when you think of Impact's dream to have, you know, Jade versus Bianca Belair, you know,
strength versus strength.
Okay, strength. What's the timeline of us being able to see that? Because we know Jade's going to go through NXT, and let's just say she gets an opportunity in 2 years. Okay, and then where's Bianca going to be? Probably through the fucking moon. I mean, Impact. In other words, you're going to probably wait 5 years to see that match, possibly.
Or longer.
Yeah, or longer. Thank you.
Here's the one thing that you're forgetting, DJ, and that is that if you look at what they already have, you could go Raquel.
Yep.
You could go Mercedes. You could go Rhea. I mean, they have so many people that effectively are strong women.
Yep.
Jade right now, honestly, the reason you're so impressed and the reason she looks so strong, because they don't have shit over there.
Bingo.
There's only one other female that could probably not say match her strength, but you could have put her in there, and that would have been what's her name? We haven't seen her on TV in a while.
Swole.
Well, Swole. Yeah, I take it back. 2. Swole and Nyla Rose.
We haven't seen her on TV.
She's been on TV the last few weeks, bro.
But I'm talking about in like actual big time matches. That's what I mean. What big time match has she been on then?
She was just part of the only women's match that was on that show last week.
Yeah. All right. Let's jump over right quick, guys, onto New Japan. I just wanted to mention it looks like there's an update to the cup bracket, New Japan cup bracket, Sin City. And I guess it is the finals take place on March 21st.
Mm-hmm.
Winner getting a IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Kota Ibushi on April 4th. So how is that looking, these brackets coming up to this Japan Cup?
So as of right now, you've got, you still actually have a couple of matches in round 2 that need to complete. So you still have David Finlay against Yoshihashi and Jay White and Hiroshi Tanahashi, which that match should be extremely good. Okay. The other matches in round 2, you had Evil defeating Jeff Cobb, which obviously I know that we've talked on this show numerous times about Cobb and how he's not being used properly, or, you know, how we would like for him to be used a little bit better with New Japan.
Sure.
Keep this in mind. Evil is the reigning winner of the New Japan Cup. So he won the tournament last year. So he also got a first round bye as a result of that. So they did have Cobb look extremely strong in round 1 against Satoshi Kojima.
Yeah.
So, and quite frankly, Evil and Cobb went 23 minutes. So they had enough faith in him that he could, you know, carry Evil to a 23-minute match, which actually wasn't bad. I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Evil in his work rate in his matches, but obviously he's homegrown. He's a talent that they discovered, signed, and went through their system. So as with any company, of course they're going to, you know, push their homegrown talent more often than not.
Is he still the leader of Bullet Club?
No, Jay White.
Oh, Jay White. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is probably where they're headed with the bracket, right?
That's what I was actually about ready to get to. Yeah. So, you have in the quarterfinals, you've got Evil going up against Toru Yano. That should be hopefully quick and painless. Shingo Takagi and Kenta actually should be a really good match. Those guys should beat the absolute shit out of each other. Kenta just had a pretty solid match with Minoru Suzuki last round. So yeah, definitely Kenta stepped his game up, and that match against Takagi should be very good. You're also going to have Will Ospreay and Sonata. Yes, Impact, that Sonata from Impact. So yeah, he's done extremely well for himself since coming back to New Japan. So,
right.
So yeah, we'll see where that goes from there. But yeah, all in all, very, very interesting bracket so far. I think that we are, as Matt Michaels had mentioned, I think we are working toward an Evil versus Jay White finals for the New Japan Cup Championship.
Nice.
So I could see Jay White winning the tournament, getting another shot at Ibushi. So we'll see, but that's just logically where I think we go.
Okay. Perfect. Well, guys, I think we hit all of the wrestling talk for the show. And
real quick, Sean in the chat says, I feel Sasha has been big showed. She's switched heel and baby too many times. I can't see her as a real heel anymore.
I agree. I agree 120%.
So, yep. Agreed.
You need to find one lane to put her in and keep her in there. And I would say face would work 10 times better, especially now with a lot of the stuff she's done outside of WWE. Perfect time for fucking face. There you go.
Yep.
Well, you better end it on that, DJ, because Simon just said it's perfect time for fucking face. So.
Oh my fucking gosh. Yes.
Okay. Well, all right, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you're on our live chat, we're going to be back as 3 counts going to be recorded. But if you're not on the live chat or watching us live, thank you for listening to us on the podcast. Tomorrow you'll get a chance to listen to 3 count, which we got 3 good stories coming up. With that, we'll see you next week. Take care. Peace.